I remember December of 1997 in Norfolk. Robinson playing Kecoughtan, state championship number 2, 14-7. Incredible game. And I remember December of 2001 in Richmond, Robinson whipping Thomas Dale for state title number 3, 40-7. All these were great experiences. One of the things that's an indelible memory on me is every time Mark and the coaches would light up a cigar. I'm sure that's a Fairfax County public school violation or a Virginia High School League violation, but we won't tell. But what I enjoyed most of competing against Mark and coaching against him is pretty much every Friday night at 12:30 a.m., riding home from school after a game, breaking down some tape or that kind of thing, the phone conversations, because the first thing that he wanted to know and the first thing that I wanted to know was, how'd you do? And for me, that's what it's all about. That's probably my proudest time, and I enjoy that conversation, and we'll continue to have those. The final question, what's Mark going to do after he retires? I have no idea. I really don't. But I'm sure after a couple of cigars and maybe a bottle of scotch or 2 this summer, or 3, he'll have a well-thought-out plan, and he'll attack it with the same passion and intensity that has been his trademark. So please stay tuned, because we haven't heard the end. Thank you, Mark. We're done. I get the honor to introduce the next guy, who I've known since we moved here. Careful, buddy. 1967, my father, who's military, we finally moved to Virginia, and one of the first people we met was Dusty Duckett. Dusty has been a lifelong friend for Mark, just one of the best people you'd ever want to meet. 44 years of friendship, and I'm sure he's got some stories and things that you might not know about Mark that he'll share. Dusty Duckett.
I suspect our guest of honor may be squirming about now. But before I start, I want to give you a bit more color on Ed Cunningham's first day at Mount Vernon, because I've been following Mark's career ever since he started coaching, and Ed, believe it or not, I remember when you walked into the weight room, because Mark told me about it. He said, "Hey, Dusty, this guy named Ed Cunningham walked into our weight room today. He's a project. Never doesn't know anything about football. Big kid, big ass. He's gonna be a hell of a football player." And sure enough, that premonition came true. Folks, as Pete said, I've known Mark for a long time, 44 years, whatever it's been. I mean, that's an awful long time. We've shared incredible memories. We've had great fun. We've laughed together. We've cried together. We've had a wonderful friendship over the years. I had the privilege to be invited to speak here today, and as I was reminiscing and thinking about all the things that we did over the years, some things came to mind as I understood the theme of this event around leadership, and I'd like to share those with you as we go on tonight. The 4 things that came to me when I thought about Mark as he was a young man, the 4 things were charisma, creativity, competitiveness, and attention to detail. And I'd like to cover each one of these themes a bit as we stay with this program. Charisma. Effective leaders must be able to influence others. And Mark showed this ability very early in his life, and I remember this very clearly. People were always drawn to Mark, whether it was adults or, I remember the little kids at the pool. We used to go to the pool at Cardinal Hill, and I remember all the little kids, for some reason, always wanted to hang out with Mark. I saw it tonight. I saw Steve Francis's kids come up to Mark and just want to cozy up to him. But he's always had this attraction to people. He's always been friendly and engaging, and another thing that I actually learned from Mark is that he knew at an early age how to engage with different types of people, whether it's adults or young people or people of different mindsets and stuff. Mark was always really good about knowing how to figure people out and how to best reach them. And it seemed like whenever Mark got excited about something, he had a way of getting other people excited about it too. Something as silly as, I remember he worked at Herman's Sporting Goods, and he sold shoes. Do you guys remember that, Herman's? I mean, they're long gone now. But he'd come home talking about these damn shoes, about pronation and all this kind of crap. Next thing I know, all the guys in the neighborhood are talking about this stuff. So I think this is a skill that Mark developed at a really early age. And then there's creativity, and this is probably my favorite part. Mark was always great at coming up with different games and things to do. You got to realize, when we were growing up, we didn't have nearly the structure that our kids have now to keep them busy and keep them involved in different activities. We had to figure this stuff out for ourselves. So it was always fun to be around Mark because he always had some creative game. My absolute favorite was Rabbit Stick. Okay? When Mark got, you guys probably know, most of you know the story, Mark got hurt when he was a senior in high school. And he had a very serious knee injury, and it cost him an opportunity to play in college. But we always competed in basketball on my back porch. And we weren't going to let a silly knee injury stop us from having that fun. So Mark, we would play Rabbit Stick. And the way you play Rabbit Stick, you have crutches, and you'd stick the crutches up in the air and block everything any mortal could possibly shoot. If you couldn't arc it like that, you didn't have a chance. And I mean, no one could play Rabbit Stick the way Mark could. So that was certainly a lot of fun that we have. And then Mark had this job at Cardinal Hill Pool as the night watchman. And I'm not sure what he did, but I know we'd go up there in the middle of the night and play home run derby and try to hit tennis balls, as far as we possibly could. Our dogs used to run around and do all kinds of crazy things. Here's one. Here's another one of Mark's creative ideas. We lived in Tyson's Green in Vienna. Maybe you guys know that area, Old Courthouse Road. And we go hang out at night in the summertime. And I remember Mark said, "Hey, Dusty, when you see the lights of a car come around the corner up there, go out in the middle of the street and see how many push-ups you could do." And I was just stupid enough to do it. Oh, God. And then there was Mike Rogers lived on Irving Street. Most of you guys don't know where that is. But we used to go up the hill from Mark's house. We turned left on Irving Street and see how fast we could go before we got to Old Courthouse Road. I think, 71 miles an hour, I think, was the record? In the Maverick, yeah. So we had all kinds of creative ways to have fun back then, and thank God we all lived through it. Other examples of creativity on Mark's part. You heard Pete. Where's Pete? He must have stepped out. I wish he was here for this because he would appreciate it. Mark came up with the most ingenious ways to torture Pete. We used to take his shirt off, and I'd grab his feet, Mark would grab his arms, and we kind of drop him down on the sticker bushes on the side of his house. And he'd scream and yell, and but he lived through it. It toughened him up. He ended up being a really tough kid. And then of course there was the football that we used to play with Pete and Andrea down in his basement. And this one, Pete and Andrea were really little, and of course Mr. and Miss Bendorf, they didn't know about this. but yeah, he was babysitting, yeah. But we'd strap them up. They had helmets and shoulder pads and stuff, and they'd be running up. And then it was great fun. It was really competitive. Then Pete started getting a little bit bigger, and Andrea started crying, and we had to cut that out. Yeah, Andrea used to win when they were little. And then, I think part of being creative is also being able to think on your feet, right? And Mark's always been good at that, whether it's the fourth quarter of a football game or maybe when he's found himself in trouble, like, maybe knocking Pete out and facing a really irate mother that was chasing him with a broom. And knowing that he's in trouble and he's kind of cornered in his bedroom, so out the window he goes. He did, on second floor, out the window he goes. He thought he could get to the fireplace because there's a little step there, but he kind of missed and ended up falling 2 stories down on the ground. So he's laying there in agony and, probably looking for a little bit of sympathy. He looks up at his mom, and you know what kind of response he got? "Serves you right." I've been practicing that for like 40 years. Oh, golly. But then let me come to competitiveness. Effective leaders have an incredible desire to excel and the will to do what it takes to win. I think this truly embodies Mark. Pete mentioned it. We always competed in everything we did. I told you about playing basketball at my house, and we used to play till all hours of the night. We used to curse. I mean, my mother would go upstairs and put fingers in her ears. We used to bleed, but it was incredibly competitive. And whether it was that or tennis or anything we did, ping pong, we had an incredibly intense competition. But it wasn't so much about I guess it was about winning, but it was about the competition. It was about going after each other, tooth and nail, and someone has to come out the winner and someone has to come out the loser. But I got to tell you, we weren't very good sportsmen back then. I can remember playing tennis. I can't count how many rackets Mark broke. And the gloating that would go along with winning but it's give and take, and it was all in good fun. But Mark was an incredibly competitive person, and always wanted to get better. And then finally, let me talk about this attention to detail, leaving no stone unturned in pursuit of greatness, role models, effective leadership behavior. I'll give you an example. We used to go camping. Mark and I loved to go up to the Shenandoah National Forest and go camping. And in my mind, you grab your backpack, you put some gear in it, you make sure you don't forget your tent, and you make sure you don't forget your sleeping bag. But it wasn't that easy with Mark. Mark has to go through a list about this long, down to how many pieces of toilet paper we're going to bring. I mean, he was incredibly disciplined and had incredible attention to detail. And I suspect any of you folks that have coached with him or played with him have experienced this attention to detail as well. But that's what you got to do to be successful. Whether it's workouts, workout schedules, or any topic Mark might choose to investigate, buying a car, or buying a boat, or buying a home, it wouldn't happen without incredible research and attention to detail before he would make a decision. In closing, I'd like to quote Lou Holtz. Lou Holtz said that if you want to effectively lead and motivate, you have to do 3 things. Do what's right, be honest and fair to all. Do the best you can in everything that you do all of the time, and treat others as you want to be treated, and let people know that you appreciate and care about them. And if you do these things, you answer the 3 questions that everybody always has. Can I trust you? Are you committed to excellence? And do you genuinely care about me as a person? Folks, you all know Mark. And I think it would be hard for anyone in this room to come up with someone that embodies those characteristics any more than Mark Bendorf. So Mark, tonight is to you, my friend. Well deserved, and I'm honored to be able to give you this tribute. Thank you.